Hello, everyone, and welcome to my complete and honest review of Wicked for Good. So, I saw this movie early access, or early screening, I should say, and I have thoughts. I have thoughts. Now, I do want to say I have never seen the Broadway musical. I have never seen the play. I've never seen it. Okay, so I don't know how it's supposed to happen. Okay, I can only judge it from what I've seen and what I've also heard, but also in general, just like in general, my thoughts on how it's released, how I feel about it, and everything in between. Now, this will delve into spoilers, so if you don't want to hear spoilers for the movie, go away, go watch the film. Um, yeah, go do that because there's not really going to be a non-spoiler review. I will say that I have conflicting thoughts on the movie itself. So we're gonna delve into it. Overall, I think I would give it a 6 out of 10. Um, yeah, I think I would give it a 6 out of 10 overall. But we're gonna delve into why I feel that way and what my criticisms are, what my positives are out of the movie. Now, for me, a 6 out of 10 doesn't mean that it's bad. For me, the way that I rate things, 7 is like an average movie. I would see it again. 8 is like the really great movie. Have little notes. 9 is like almost flawless. 10 is of course perfect. 5 is kind of like in the middle where it's like it's okay, but I probably wouldn't watch it again. 4 anything below 4 and below is like bad. That's bad territory. So 6 out of 10 is pretty fair for me. Now, I heavily think that the biggest mistake of this movie is splitting it into 2 parts. And the reason why I say this is because it really feels like a part 2. It really feels like the back half of the first movie. Because the thing about part 2 is the way that you do it right is that it can still stand on its own, but it's consolidated in its own movie. And obviously for this case, that doesn't work. The arts choices that they make would have fit much better if the whole movie was displayed all at once. And I truly believe that the biggest mistake was making us wait a whole year and splitting the movies into 2 parts. Not only because it left the area for non-musical fans, not people who have not seen the musical, to be spoiled. And I will say, I was spoiled way before I saw Wicked for Good. So all like the key plot points I already knew going into the movie, which I do think did a disservice into how it was actually executed, because the entire time I knew that something was going to happen, and I knew exactly who was going to turn into who, and I was more so just looking to how they were going to go about doing so. So I do think that kind of played into my enjoyment of the movie, because I was more so just guessing when it would happen versus just enjoying the plot twist and like the cool full moment. The other thing is that while I understand that most of the decisions were for nostalgia, I do think that there was kind of required homework of you really needed to watch The Wizard of Oz before watching this movie. Like, I would even say that you needed to watch The Wizard of Oz before the first movie. So basically, the way that I would watch this movie straight out is Wizard of Oz, Wicked, and Wicked for Good. Because I think that without seeing The Wizard of Oz anytime soon, you do kind of miss out on understanding a little bit of the plot points that are happening during this movie. Like, I get the references because I do know the movie Wizard of Oz, But I think because it's been such a long time since I've seen the movie, I forgot about how the pacing was. Because, like, for example, Dorothy is sent off to go on the Yellow Brick Road, and I was pretty sure that, like, Scarecrow was met first and, like, very quickly as well in the movie. I could be remembering that wrong, but I thought that Dorothy met the Scarecrow pretty quickly after she left to go out on the Yellow Brick Road. So the fact that Dorothy left and Scarecrow was still not Scarecrow was confusing to me. Um so I don't know if maybe that was just a change in which they expanded, or maybe the time frame is just slightly longer, but it felt like what was supposed to be it felt like the Scarecrow was supposed to be Scarecrow a long time before um Dorothy was sent off to see the wizard, or sent off on the Yellow Brick Road. So I was a little bit confused with that. And it felt like the Tin Man turned into Tin Man maybe like when the Scarecrow was supposed to turn into Scarecrow. Just based on like the order of like how they meet, and just like in general what would make sense inside of my head, I guess. Because I mean it means that like Scarecrow really wasn't there for that long before Dorothy saw him. So it's like very, very like last second. And it almost felt like maybe there should have been like a longer gap in between that. I don't know. It also felt like they were kind of hitting the story beats, and like they were kind of hitting their marks, but they weren't really expanding much beyond that. Because I think it relied on you knowing the Wizard of Oz. And if you I can see it to where if you've never seen the Wizard of Oz and you're watching this movie, you're gonna be lost. I'm not even gonna lie. I'm lucky that I have seen the movie. Like, I have seen Wizard of Oz, so I do know the story beats and everything. But I can just imagine someone who has never seen the Wizard of Oz, who has only seen Wicked and Wicked for Good, being completely lost and confused as to what is happening in the movie. Because I think because we don't really get the close up of what's happening with Dorothy, it does kind of leave you kind of having to think about what is happening in the Wizard of Oz while we're watching this movie. And because we don't really have scenes played out with Dorothy and the Cowardly Lion and everything like that, it almost feels like the pacing is maybe like kind of off. Like, maybe certain things like didn't really align with how like the movie actually went. Now I understand that the Wizard of Oz is not necessarily the blueprint for Wicked. Like, Wicked is more so based on the book Wizard of Oz, so I also don't know if things happen a little bit differently in the book than it does like in the movie Wizard of Oz. But I think the problem is that if we're going based off of the movie that everyone has seen, and the reason why we're not seeing like the full scenes played out is for nostalgia and because everyone has seen that movie, then it kind of makes me question as to, okay, if the reason why we're not seeing these scenes play out like the way that we should is because the movie is the blueprint for what we are witnessing, then it does feel like that the pacing is maybe slightly off from the story, or at least what I remember. I mean, I guess I don't really know because like it's been a while since I've seen The Wizard of Oz. But like even like the Cowardly Lion parts like felt like maybe that should have happened like a while ago. I mean I don't know. I don't know. I guess it's kind of one of those things where you have to just kind of ignore the pacing of the original movie. But then that's exactly why I'm like, okay, but then why didn't we like actually see scenes from the movie played out here? Like I understand they didn't want to do like the Judy Garland. They didn't want to like ruin like the Judy Garland like reputation and stuff like that. But it did kind of confuse me just a little bit. And then let's talk about the elephant in the room real quick. Scarecrow. What the fuck was that? It's kind of weird that they obsessed with like not showing us the faces of these characters because they don't want to ruin the nostalgia of it. Like the reason why we don't see Dorothy's faces because we want to think of Judy Garland when we're looking at her character. So then you give a close up shot of Jonathan Bailey as the Scarecrow, and I'm gonna say it ruined it. He looked like a Komodo dragon. He looked like a Komodo dragon. He looked like his face had the texture of a Komodo dragon. It did not look like a scarecrow to me. Like it didn't even look like the stitching of like the scarecrow material. And I don't know who made the decision to make that face the way it was. But it made me think, why is a movie that was released, I don't even know how many years ago, looking better than the movie that was made this year? Like, I think we can do better than that. And I understand that they were going practical, but the thing about that is, so did the movie released so many years ago. Like the movie released so many years ago did not even have the possibility of CGI. And they did the Scarecrow better than what we saw now. And it's like, did they just do makeup and only makeup to make the Scarecrow? Because I think that was a mistake. It looks just so bizarre and uncanny. And like, Alphaba's trying to say like he doesn't look ugly, and I'm just thinking, girl, are you sure? are you sure he doesn't look ugly? Like he kind of does. Like when he's like, "Oh, you don't have to lie to me." I'm like, is he self-aware? Does he know how bad he looks? Like and I think the reason why it really suffers from being a part 2 is because it feels like the characters had such a drastic turnaround. Like now Nessa is like bitter and like really harsh, and Glinda is like kowtowing to the wizard, and I feel like that there was scenes that were skipped that probably needed to be there that weren't, to justify the sudden change of the characters and how they acted. Like I understand that like time passed and I get that, but I'm like, how did we get from A to Z? Because I don't know, like it just felt like a jarring change, and I don't know how I feel about it. Like I understand that they needed to hit certain beats in order for it to make sense. Like for obviously like Nessa needed to have a house land on her, but I'm like, girl, why are you so awful? Like you're so bad. Like you went from like someone who was like positive and bubbly to someone that is just straight up uh a female dog. Like I mean I don't know. I mean they use the justification of her being upset with Alphaba for leaving her because her father died, but she also knew that like the father wasn't that great to Alphaba. So I'm like, what are you really upset about? Like I don't understand. And I'm not gonna lie, there was kind of that like weird moment of Nessa being able to like fly and like move, and like that story point felt like it maybe didn't age well. Like I understand what they were trying to do and say, but it just felt kind of strange to me the way it played out, because you have like Bach acting so weirded out that she can like move, that she's not like paralyzed anymore. And then you have him confess the love for Glinda right then and there, and it just felt really weird. And I'm not even gonna lie, kind of ableist. Like, I don't want to just throw it out to throw it out there, but especially knowing that that actress is actually like disabled and everything, and the character herself, you know, has gone through this like paralysis and the beats of being disabled. And now to kind of have this moment is to where she's like finally happy that she can like, I guess, move like a normal person, and like being infatuated by Bach only for her to kind of be rejected just immediately. Like, I don't know how I feel about that. I don't know how I feel about that, to be honest. It um and then the wizard reveal of him being the father of Elphaba's. I don't I don't know, man. It felt maybe like it was in a bad spot for it to be revealed. Like, I understand like they needed it to happen after like she died to everybody. And so like I guess that's why like the wizard ends up being exposed like really quickly. So I guess he kind of wanted to be exposed because he needed to be exposed. But then I don't know if it really worked for me. I don't know. I uh the songs were okay. It just felt like it was supposed, like it felt like it was supposed to be the end of the show. Like the entire movie was supposed to be like just the end of the show. So it didn't really have the same impact to me that like the first half did. And I really think that the biggest problem of these two movies is that it needed to be one part. It didn't need to be two parts, it needed to be one whole movie. And I think if had they tightened the script and had they had that moment where it's like, this is the full story, I actually think it would have been better received. And not only better received, but also perfectly executed. Because now I'm kind of wondering, like, is it me? Is it the pacing? Like, what is the problem here? Is it the fact that that there is a 1 year gap, and that like I just haven't seen Wicked Part 1 in a long time, so I don't really like, I'm missing pieces that were in like the first half of the movie that just made it better. Like, I don't know what's wrong. Like like I understood like they were trying to do like the intermission bit for like the part 1, and then, you know, they were coming back, and now it's like part 2. Like, this is like it feels like, yes, this is like a musical. So it feels like we're coming back from like the bathroom break and like coming back to intermission and doing like the last half. But I think that doesn't really work in a movie theater setting unless you have like the double feature, in which case you're watching both movies at the same time. But it really does feel like you had to have watched 3 movies. Like, you really need to watch all 3 movies sitting down to really appreciate what the Wicked is doing. Especially because it's referencing certain lines as well, certain very famous lines from Wizard of Oz, where it's like, okay, yes, I understand what you're referencing, but I'm kind of lost in this as well, because like, even the order of like the flying monkeys and everything, I'm like, okay, I felt like that was supposed to happen a lot sooner. And I don't know if like this is one of those things where it's like Dorothy is going on her quest at the same time that all this is unfolding. So while it seems like it's like a longer period of time, it's actually like not really, and it's also just like happening very quickly. So it's like not really happening the way that it seems to be happening. But it's just like we have to have this time in order to tell this story. So like we're just gonna expand this time so that we can nail the final beats of the movie. And I'm like, okay, so all this happened in the background of Dorothy just walking the yellow brick road. Like, how long was that walk? Because it felt like multiple days, maybe. It felt like maybe multiple days. And I mean, I guess it was a really long yellow brick road. But like even like with Scarecrow like turning it like with Fiero turning into Scarecrow, I'm like, okay, that took a long time. It felt like it took like a long time. Um, I don't know who the fuck did that to Jonathan Bailey's face. I don't know who did that. Now, the last critique of the movie is not really in the movie itself, but more so behind the scenes. Because we gotta talk about the elephant in the room. And why do all of the actresses look like they have an ED? Why? I don't know if it was an executive decision. I don't know if that was coming from the director. I don't know where they got that, like, anorexia was the fashion statement that we were gonna make for this movie. But, like, why can I see the rib cages of these actresses as they are on screen on IMAX playing these witches? Like why? Also, I don't know if it's just my theater, but there was a dead pixel in the middle of the movie. And it distracted me so badly that I was like, is that the theater or is that just part of the movie? And if that's just part of the movie, I'm confused as to why we left a dead pixel there. Like, maybe it was just my copy. Maybe it was just us. Maybe it was just that. But I don't know if anyone else noticed like a dead pixel in the middle of the Wicked for Good screen. Like, it was so off-putting that I was like, it distracted me during the entire movie. Because I'm like, I'm trying to figure out if this is the screen or if this is the movie. The dead pixel seems to be like moving around, so I'm guessing that it's the movie and not the IMAX screen. Because if it was the IMAX screen, we would have seen that dead pixel like a while ago. So now I'm thinking, like, did they just leave a dead pixel in the middle of the Wicked for Good movie? Was it me, or was it like everybody else had that dead pixel in the middle of the screen? I'm confused. But either way, the press tour for this movie felt kind of weird. It felt strange, and I don't know why. I think it's because both of the actresses in this movie looked so much thinner than what they started out as. And now I'm kind of concerned as to what happened behind the scenes. Because, I mean, The Wizard of Oz is famously known for having, like, bad things happen behind the scenes. So it would be really strange and unfortunate if the same kind of activity happened behind this scene. Like, I'm not familiar with too much of John Chu's work. I doubt that it was a John Chu choice, because I don't remember any of his other movies like the women looking like unhealthily thin. And like I'm sure that like Michelle Yeoh wouldn't keep working with this director if he was that kind of person and like mandating these actresses to be like anorexia thin. So I'm gonna guess that it was probably like executive or production. And if that's the case, why? You have the most beautiful cast you could possibly ask for. You have Ariana Grande, you have Cynthia Erivo, and you have Michelle Yeoh. Why would you have a diet? I don't understand that. They are already beautiful, like, well-shaped actresses. Why would you make them so enormously skin? Like, it felt more than just like them doing it for fun and them getting into character. It felt like maybe something happened behind the scenes that we'll learn about in like a year after the movie comes out. Cause it just feels weird. Like in the year 2025, why are we having actresses look so enormously thin for playing two witches, neither of which have to be thin? Like, is the goal to try to make them look like the original Wizard of Oz characters? Like, is that why? But it doesn't really make sense because, I mean, Glinda in the original Wizard of Oz movie looks like more not. Glinda in the original movie doesn't look nearly as malnourished in that movie. I mean, maybe the Wicked Witch of the West did, but honestly, it's like even if she did look that thin in the original movie, why is that the goal that we're going for? I don't know. Like it felt like they had maybe an unhealthy diet restriction, and my question is really why. I mean, maybe it was so that they could make sure that they fit into their costumes all year round, like for both movies. But I'm also like, just make the costumes bigger? I'm confused. So yeah, I would rate the original Wicked movie like a 7, 8 out of 10? 8 out of 10. I would rate the original movie an 8 out of 10. I would rate this movie a 6 out of 10. And together, they get a 7 out of 10. Would I watch it again? I do kind of want to watch it just like back to back, Wicked 1 and Wicked for Good. Just to see if that helps the viewing experience. Because it did feel like that was probably going to be the better outcome. And I'm just like, was this really just like a studio thing that they, like, I mean, I understand why they split into two parts just to get like more money out of it, but it kind of felt like it did a disservice to both movies by making that choice, just because like part 2 really felt like it heavily relied on part 1, and so like you could have solved that just by making it one movie. Anyways, maybe I'm too critical. Maybe people are like, this is the best thing ever. This is gonna be like, maybe I'm wrong. Tell me if I'm wrong. Like, tell me, like, is this like the original? Like, is this what the Wicked musical is like? Do you also have these problems? Like, is it just me? Like, is this a faithful adaptation? Like, let me know down in the comments. I don't have any opinions on the actual music, by the way. I've never seen the musical, so I have no idea what was supposed to be in there and what was added in there. And also, for me, it's just like I prefer the first act songs over the second act songs. But I also feel like that's just because the mood of the second half is so much different that like you can't really do too much like in terms other than like the emotional bits in terms of what you're doing for that musical. So it really felt like really felt like the second half really needed to be just part of part 1. I don't know, but let me know down in the comments. Let me know what you think. Also, let me know if there's if possibly there was a copy like online of the original Broadway musical or something that I can like watch, because like I'm very curious as to what the original play looks like, and I don't know what to search to get to something that's actually good. So let me know that, because I can't go to Broadway. I don't have that kind of money. But I do kind of want to watch like the original Wicked show just to kind of see if maybe I would prefer that. So let me know what I gotta do to find that. Anyways, hope you guys enjoy. Let me know what you think down in the comments, and I'll see you next time. Bye!